and welcome to Making Finances Sexy. My name is Jessica Lay. I'm your Rent Rave owned realtor and certified instructor with the company 101 Financial right here in our Valley of the Sun, making it my mission, as always, to assist you in moving out of renting and into homeownership. No matter your situation, I'm ready to be your personal finance coach and first-time home buyer specialist. And as always, Rose Short.
Yes, it's me, Rose Short, aka the Red Queen. Come down the rabbit hole with me. I'm a realtor here in the Phoenix Valley. I'm also the CEO of Chronica Luxury and a financial consultant. It is my mission to help you build multiple streams of income, fire your boss, and live your dream lifestyle.
Woo. And what are we getting into today?
All right, today we are getting into net worth. What does it really mean? And net worth versus liquid assets. So I think for a lot of people that don't grow up around affluent individuals, we don't really understand what net worth really means. And the reason I say this is because we've seen it kind of lately with the incident in Maui, right? I mean, that fire was huge. It was terrible. And there's been a lot of crowdfunding put out to help the people in need there. And there's a lot of people who are going, well, you know, Jeff Bezos has all this money. Why doesn't he just give them a ton of money? Or, you know, The Rock and Oprah are starting a foundation. Why don't they just, you know, buy them new homes, et cetera, et cetera? And I understand there's a whole controversy with Oprah. I'm not getting into that. But what I do want to get into is the affluent stay rich by putting their cash into assets or liabilities. And what I mean by that is a person's net worth is their combined assets minus their combined liabilities. So there's a lot of people who are very rich as far as net worth who are also in massive amounts of debt because they're using debt to their advantage. Grant Cardone, as much as I dislike him, is a prime example of that. The man has a ton of debt, but he makes a lot of money off that debt. So his net worth is good because his assets outweigh his liabilities. What this often tends to mean is that just because someone is paper rich does not mean they have access to a lot of cash. And that's, I think, where people struggle. So an asset is many things. It's your business, it's your stocks, it's your home. Although most rich people do see their home as a liability versus an asset, but that's a whole nother theme. But that's why a lot of times you'll see the what we would call stupidly rich buying what we see as unrealistic things to buy, like the $26 million home, the $500,000 car, like things that to us were like, why would you waste your money on that? Well, they're doing it because that's how they protect their money, is not by having it as a cash balance in a savings account somewhere. They have it in these assets and liabilities.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because net worth, it's pretty much an indicator of your financial health, and it's your assets minus your liabilities. That would be a great episode to go deeper on the differences. In my program, 101 Financial, we actually teach our students the very small start to utilizing debt to your advantage to make you more money, which is with the personal lines of credit. So we use the personal lines of credit debt is as a tool to propel, because our 9-to-5 income isn't always enough. So we need to, especially if you're coming from like us, not coming from a family of wealth and money, I think debt can be the best tool for you to get to that next step where you do actually have like thousands in your savings account and into other assets that can protect your wealth and make you more on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why oftentimes with $1 million plus properties or affluent buyers or whatnot, we'll ask for a verification of assets. And a lot of times we'll get sent a snippet of a bank account or something like that. And every now and then we'll get a snippet of a stock portfolio, which in itself is fine. It's good to have stocks. It's good to have a high amount of stocks. The issue becomes, how fast can you liquidate those stocks if you need to? And that's one of the things when it comes to verification of assets and why it's so important, and why in some states they require not just a pre-qual, but a pre-approval to make sure the funds are available. Because sometimes someone will pre-qual, they'll want to use that stock, they sell that stock to go ahead and have the cash available, and then of course you have to pay taxes on it and everything else. And so the amount they get isn't necessarily what they planned on, or the market did bad the day they went to sell, right? So there's a lot of different things, and that's why we ask people, how quickly can you liquidate assets? And that's the whole thing that, again, people don't get is like, you can be a millionaire as far as your stocks are concerned. That doesn't mean you have a lot of cash in your bank account, because again, you're using that portfolio to borrow from the bank and show that you have this, but that doesn't mean that you have that automatically available. You and I know a couple people who are very well off who don't have a lot of cash flow, even though they could do things to make it to where they had a cash flow and that income, or that nest egg, we'll say, because it's not really income at that point. And they just don't do it because it's easier on their taxes and whatnot to just keep that money there and be paper rich versus being able to spend the money on things that like you and I would spend money on.
Definitely things that can make us more money in the long run, like more assets, more online business, all that good stuff.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And that's where LLCs come in handy, because if you're doing online business, things like that, and you're just running it through your social security number, there's really no write-offs there, right? But if you do it through an LLC, well, now I can write off my ad spend, I can write off my marketing platforms and portfolios, I can write off my subscriptions and my software that I need. Like, there's a lot of stuff I can write off, and that's where LLCs come in handy. And this is where people start to go kind of down the rabbit hole of tax avoidance, even though it's not. Like, they're utilizing the ability to write off business expenses. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing that they do it. It's just annoying for those of us that don't know how to do it. And I think that's where a lot of the anger comes in with like, oh, the rich aren't paying their fair share, right? Because Amazon was a big one where they were like, oh, like Amazon didn't pay any taxes. Yeah, because yeah, they made a lot of profit, but the warehouses cost money, the payroll costs money. There's a lot of liabilities, a lot of expenses involved. And so, did they make a ton of money? Yeah, but they also expensed a ton of money. And that's where like they do get away with not paying taxes because it's balancing out. And again, if you're an everyday person struggling in a 9 to 5, that sounds terrible and it makes you angry. If you're
Yep.
coming at it from a business perspective, it makes sense. And that's how everyday people can take control of their finances, is start an LLC, funnel it that way, and then you can start actually holding on to more of your money.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I'm looking into getting my LLC now, which is exciting. But also, I was that person that would get pissed off at these wealthy people and like see what they're doing or like on social media and whatnot. But instead of getting angry, I think you need to just take a second and to actually learn on how you can do it for you, because everybody's worthy of wealth and everybody can make it happen for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, we as a society have said that taxes are okay and it's expected. And so you're gonna pay taxes. That's just how it is. It sucks. They come out of your check on your 9 to 5. If you start an LLC and you're only making money off your LLC is gonna pay taxes. And again, that's where Found comes in handy, because they automatically track your income versus expenses and start putting aside money for your taxes. And that's where having a really good CPA or accountant comes in handy as well. Not a plug for anybody in particular, just saying like these are tools that we have. And there's a reason that there are some very wealthy CPAs, and it's because the affluent go to them and are willing to pay them high bucks because they are usually able to save them money. And again, not necessarily in illegal or shady ways, just by utilizing the laws that we as laymen usually don't understand. So there's a lot of tax laws in place that, you and I would never look at because they don't really apply to us. They don't matter to us as of right now. But as you start to grow your portfolio, as you start to grow your wealth, that becomes really important. And again, that's where putting your money into assets real estate, stuff like that comes in handy versus just having it in the bank account. But that also means, again, you're growing your paper wealth, not necessarily your actual cash value wealth. There's a big difference.
Yeah, and that paper wealth is the best starting point if you don't have money, basically. I would definitely recommend buy assets, not stuff. Don't go buy that shiny car and have another monthly payment and just, yeah, instead of
Yeah,
that, buy some stocks, work towards buying your first home. And it all comes back down to budgeting.
it does.
You
Yeah.
need to budget for your assets and uh everything.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's where a lot of the newly affluent get a lot of trouble, right? Is they start making good money and then they're like, oh, I have to let everyone know that I'm rich now. And so they start buying what they perceive as the lifestyle. Now, again, if cars are your theme, cool, and you can afford them, cool, go for it. Like not my theme, not what I want to spend my money on, but like everyone wants to have money for different reasons, right? And they're all valid in their own right. But I saw this a lot in the town I lived in Texas, where everyone there on paper was rich. Like it's a richie's kind of not suburb, but like sub city of Dallas that I was in. And really nice homes, multi-million dollar homes, everyone drove really nice cars, but they penny pinched like crazy. And it was because they were paper rich, they weren't cash flow rich. And that's where, if you're starting to get paper rich, but you're not necessarily cash flow rich yet, buying what you perceive as what you should have as a newly wealthy person to show off your wealth can get you in a lot of trouble, because you start spending more than you're actually able to maintain. And that's where, all of a sudden your $500,000 car is getting repoed and you're not, you've already written off your poor friends and now your rich friends are laughing at you. So it's not a good place to be in. So it's super, super important that if you are trying to build that wealth and whatnot, you do it in an educated way. You see it all the time with sports figures, right? Who come from not necessarily bad backgrounds, but poorer backgrounds, all of a sudden are making $1 million a game, and they get hurt, and then all of a sudden they're poor because they've wasted all their money because they didn't know how to manage this sudden influx of wealth. So, if having that lifestyle and living that lifestyle is your theme, that's fine, but make sure that you're doing it within the means of what you actually have.
Yeah, gotta be smart. We see those lottery ticket winners
Yep.
typically lose it almost instantly.
Yep.
Crazy.
And it's the same thing. They're spending money on themes that will not build them wealth in the long run. So again, assets versus liabilities. Now, I'd said that, some of the affluent do see owning a home as a liability versus an asset. And that's kind of more of a mindset theme, because your house in a way is a liability depending on what you're doing with it, right? If it's your primary residence, it's more of an asset. If you're buying it as, say, a rental property, yes, it's an asset because it's going to add to your overall wealth, but it's also a liability because now you have to deal with extra home insurance, because if a renter slips and falls, weirdly, they can still sue you. And there's just extra liabilities that come with it.
Maintenance and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So your liabilities can make you money. That's kind of the whole point. Just as much as assets can build wealth. It's just how you look at it and how you manage it.
Yeah. So anybody looking to get started, like, you don't need a lot of money to get started. If you're working your 9 to 5, just try to allocate $50 if you can a month, to some assets. That's what I started to do. Like, I have my $50 a month that goes to my retirement account, and then I have my $50 that go to my stocks that can make me money and I can use sooner.
Yeah.
So, like, just start small and cut out that Starbucks every day and then you can try to buy things that can really benefit you further in the future.
Yeah. So let's real quick. So we started off talking about net worth, right? And so net worth again is your assets minus your liabilities. So one of the best examples of it that I've seen is you've got a primary residence valued at $250,000. Now, obviously, this is an old example because you're gonna have a hard time finding a $250,000 property in Phoenix right now. You have an investment portfolio that's 100,000, so that's 350,000. And then you've got automobiles and other assets valued at 25,000. So you're looking at $375,000, right? You've also got an outstanding mortgage of $100,000, and you've got a car loan of $10,000. So you take that 375 and you subtract the 110, and you're left with a net worth of $265,000. But that's the easiest way to calculate that. But again, that doesn't calculate your cash value at all. That's just if you die and your family has to liquidate your assets, how much debt can they pay off, or what will they get essentially? So net worth is great. It shows the banks that you're, worthy of credit. It can help you with a lot of things, but net worth and cash value are not the same. I shouldn't say that. Net wealth and cash availability are not the same. And that's what I think we really need to remember, especially as we're starting to build out our portfolios and everything like that, is just because someone's paper rich does not mean they have a lot of cash flow.
Yeah, because they don't have full access to it all the time. And that's the same with homes. They're the slowest moving asset I think a person can have. So like you're not going to, get that equity right away. Like some people think you gotta pay it down a bit first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you bought in 2019 and then refied in 2021, and then you probably did get your equity back pretty quickly.
That is
Um,
true.
but that that was a very special market, very special time. So
Yeah,
I don't think we're gonna see that again.
a lot of luck. I mean, maybe anything's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No market expert can really say they're a market expert because the market's ever changing. And when you've been through one cycle, you've been through one cycle. That's it.
Yeah, so that kind of brings up a good point because me and Kalani sometimes get into this mindset too, where we're like, we're too late to, get started in anything and or think we miss the best deals, buying a house during COVID times and things like that. But what do you feel about it? I think that there's never a right or wrong time to get into something that can help you out and help you build wealth.
So whenever I start having those thoughts, the way I break that cycle is go, well, do I want to have these thoughts again 5 years from now? Or do I just want to start today? So someone had commented on one of my YouTube shorts. I don't even remember what the video was talking about, but it was something about building multiple streams of income or retiring early or something. And they were like, oh, well, the best way to retire early is to start working when you're legally able to at 14 and save $50 a paycheck. And I was like, woo, child labor? Like, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Kids should start working. I grew up on a ranch. I've been working my entire life. I get it. Yeah. I started working at 14, but I don't have a time machine. And most people don't have a time machine. So that's trash advice if you're trying to help somebody who's 30 prepare to retire in the next 10, 15 years. So I kind of find it funny. But the main thing is just start. Like, there's never a perfect time to start a business. There's never a perfect time to buy a house. There's never a perfect time to buy a car. It's all contingent on your current situation and what you have time and capital wise available. So, that we've seen it a lot since the interest rates went up of like, oh, well, I should have bought in 2020. I guess I'll wait for the market to crash. And it's like, the market's not going to crash. Like, it's supply and demand. We've talked about this a million times, right? There's no timing the market will never be as good as time in the market. And so if you have the means to buy a house and you find the house you like, yeah, let's say, your mortgage isn't $700 a month because you waited 2 years to buy. If you have the means and the ability, it's still a good time to buy because that house, for the most part, is just going to build your wealth. Now, again, like the 2008 crash, yeah, that sucked. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Is it going to happen again? I mean, it's highly unlikely, but who can say for sure, right?
Yeah,
But
we don't want to just wait around and see if it does happen or not. Because if it doesn't happen, then
then
where
you've
were
really
we?
missed the boat. Real property is always a great way to build financial wealth. It's a great way to build generational wealth, if that's what you're looking at to build. And I mean, real property over virtual property is always going to be better, right? So, like, do you want to invest all your time and money and energy into crypto or stocks, or do you want to invest it in a future, an actual future, where
Yeah.
your kids have a roof over their head or whatever it might be?
Mhm.
So I think it's really easy for people to go down that mental rabbit hole of, what am I doing? I waited too long. This is never going to work. Like, I kind of did it this last week with my business. I was like, I'm not scaling as fast as I wanted to. Like, this is not cool. Like, what the hell am I doing? Why did I start this? Like, it's been this long, and then I talked to somebody else who was like, dude, you make 20 bucks a month sending emails. That's cool. Like, that's 20 bucks more than you were making last year. And I was like, or 20 bucks a day. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, now that you put it in perspective, yeah, you're right. I'm still doing better than I was. And that's the thing is,
Yeah.
like, we get so caught up in comparing ourselves to everybody else, which is never a good thing. We got caught up in imposter syndrome, like you and I were talking about earlier, where it's like, oh, well, I don't deserve, this success, or like, I don't I didn't actually work for this. Like, I didn't work hard enough. I didn't hustle hard enough. So, like, I don't, I just can't do this. Like, this isn't for me, kind of thing.
It's human emotions.
Yeah. And, you know, the main thing is just stop. Just tell your inner voice to shut the up
Yep.
and do the thing. Whatever it is, start saving, buy the house, start your business, whatever it is. Like, again, do you want to regret it 5 years from now again? Or do you want to look back 5 years from now and be like, man, I'm so glad I took the chance?
Oh yeah, that's good. Good stuff. But yeah, I think everyone should calculate their net worth. It's super simple. See where you're at. If you're negative, definitely start today and get out of that. Negative isn't sexy.
Yeah, no. But negative bank account's not sexy either. So don't go broke trying to do it. If you need
Yeah.
assistance figuring out how to do it, that's where Jess comes in handy with her 101 financial.
Yeah, get some help. It's okay to ask for help. And I know people get stuck in their own heads not wanting to ask for help. I mean, I have a hard time too. When I broke my ankle, I was still trying to like do things on my own and like just ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you come from a place where none of your sphere really understands how money works either. Like, I have poor dad.
Mhm.
He's really good. But he is where he is because he had a friend who had a rich dad and he learned from that rich dad. And so if you don't have anyone in your sphere that can help you, it's super important that you reach out or that you start at least, YouTube University kind of thing of how money actually works and how to make it work for you. Because we see it a lot in the affiliate marketing space too, where so many people try to just dive into buying all these programs and getting the seller's rights and selling them, but they don't actually go through them. They don't actually understand what they're selling. And that's when they kind of start to burn out. So it's super important that you get that right support structure to one, hold you accountable, and two, make sure you're on the right path.
Yeah, exactly. Like even investing in stocks, I have my stocks that I just bought on my own and have been sitting in my account forever because I'm just waiting for them to go green again. Who knows when that'll ever be, but now that I'm investing with like I use Fidelity investments and have an actual person on the other end doing my trades for me.
Yep.
And it just makes life so much easier and it's protecting my money and I feel more at peace, not when I open up my Webull app and I'm like, but like there goes all my money.
Right. Well, it's so funny. Like, we have no problem outsourcing, like, oh, my refrigerator broke. I don't know how to fix it. I'm going to call in a refrigerator repairman. It's the same thing of, what, oh, my finances are broke. I don't know how to fix them. Let me call somebody who does this. Like,
Exactly.
we have no problem recognizing our shortfalls when it comes to like skill set as far as physical things. But when it comes to finances or business or stuff like that, for some reason there's this block of, well, I don't need anybody's help. I don't need to ask for help. I don't need this. I can do this all on my own, or I'll, I have to succeed or fail on my own. It's like, I mean, sure, but if I'm a crap video editor, I've got two options. I can get better at video editing, or I can go to Fiverr and hire it out.
Yeah, and if you're looking to get this done quicker, then definitely having a mentor is the way to go. Like fixing my finances, I wouldn't have paid off $30,000 a debt on my own in 2 years. Like without having my instructor, I probably would have paid that off in 10, 15, honestly. Like just don't be afraid to ask. And we love helping people. Like you love helping people get their online businesses going. I love helping people get out of debt and start putting their money into things that can make them money. Like
Yeah.
we love it.
Yeah. Yep. We say it all the time within our coaching program of, build sustainable passive income and use it to buy more passive income. But you have to start somewhere. And, starting with a false expectation of I'm going to take this $7 course and in 3 months be making $10,000 a month. Because for some reason, $10,000 is like the magic number in affiliate marketing, and I don't understand. But you're going to burn out. You're going to fail because you're not going to get all the skills you actually need, and you're going to be comparing yourself to everybody else, and it's just not going to work. And so rather than wasting your time and energy in that, just spend the money to invest in yourself for long time sustainable income. And then we can build up your net worth and your cash value at the same time. All right, guys, I hope you found this useful. Next week, Miss Jessica is going to start us off talking about money, stress, and relationships and how that all ties together.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of breakups, and number one reason is typically financials. So let's keep the love. Have a good week, guys.
Stay sexy.